Okay, welcome to the Community Center Building Committee meeting on June 20th, 2024. We have a quorum. Following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please go to the town website for login information under meetings and agendas. This meeting is being recorded. I'll take a roll call of committee members present. David Billings,
Yes.
Luciana Berti,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend,
Yes.
and obviously I'm Dick Malcolm, and I'm here as well. Okay, so we basically have one item to discuss, and this is a PCO regarding a condition that was found in the 1910 building. And with that introduction, I'll turn it over to Al Estevez, our owner's project manager from Collier's Project Leaders.
Thank you, Dick, and welcome everyone. Dick, any chance I could get the rights to share my screen? Thanks.
I think I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't think of that earlier. Go.
Perfect. Let's see. And can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll take a stab at this. And Katie, I'm glad you're on the call. You can tell me how well I did on this summary here. So basically, it's like Dick said, this is a clear case of hidden conditions. After the interior demolition, the exterior wall assembly was uncovered. The innermost layer of brick is actually not brick, it's terracotta. It has gaps in it. Therefore, the anchoring system that had been designed wouldn't work with that exterior wall assembly. That needed a different fastening system, epoxy anchors with sleeves. That requires considerably more labor to install. They also need to be pre-drilling oversized holes to fit the sleeves and the epoxy. In addition to, there's over 1,000 anchor points as well. In addition to that, another hidden condition that's associated with this same PCO is that the exterior, it was assumed that the exterior wall assembly extended past the attic joist. That was not the case. That was a hidden condition. And so one of those angles that, by the way, goes around the entire interior perimeter of the 1910 building had to be installed at the underside of the joist, and that just requires additional labor to get the people on a hoist or whatnot to be able to get the angles installed. And these angles are required to meet the seismic requirements. I don't know if you guys want to get into more details.
Do we know, did you do a order of magnitude cost?
Yeah, so the cost is the total cost is $41,860. This came down by about $4,000. Originally, it was about
45.
It was about 45 or so. And so we went back and forth in this one a number of times. We got credits for the original anchoring and some of the original bolts that they were using. So we looked into all that.
How much do we still have in contingency? I'm getting, are you keeping track of all of this? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So actually, I was getting ready for the.
Okay, so let's go. Oh, you have a bunch of them.
Yeah, well, these are for the board selectments presentation tonight. And so this one is actually part of this presentation tonight. Okay. And we're looking at 78% remaining contingency if this one were to be approved.
If all of them get approved.
All of them, along with all the ones that were recommended for approval at the last building committee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have left in risk, or does that include the ones that you're still working through?
So that's a really good point, David. I'm glad you brought it up. This summary here does not include, because this is just for the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, and it basically tells them where are we going to stand with contingency if we were to approve these PCOs. It does not capture the potential upcoming PCOs that have not been recommended for approval by the building committee. That's a separate, those I present at the building committee meeting, not usually at the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Okay, I guess I'm just kind of asking the question, are we? I guess, oh, what's the total risk? I mean.
I can
what we
open
have.
I can open the last building committee's presentation, and
So it was on that, it was. At 65%, if memory serves.
it was it was like in the 60s, 60. Yeah, that's probably a good estimate there,
Okay.
David. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's see where we were.
So they said that this wasn't shown until the demolition was done. Is that recent demolition?
It's not. The interior demolition was done early in the project.
So, because I read the report and it said that it would have been cheaper and easier to have been done with all the rest of the steel. So was this not something that could have been caught earlier?
But potentially, but I don't know that the cost would have been different. In fact, so we ended up getting a cost estimate by the steel supplier, the steel subcontractor, and it was quite high. It was like 45,000, and the general contractor thought that they could do it for a little bit cheaper. So we went back and forth with them, and at the end of the day, it didn't end up saving as much money as we thought. So we still went with the this PCO still goes with the steel subcontractor.
I suppose I'm just raising the question, and it's probably too late for this one now, but it's just looking forward that. And I'm asking from a layman's point of view, so I don't have the expertise of like Luciana and Dick and David, but are these not are the things that are coming up that we really should have paid more attention to and realized to try and save on the contingency, just spending a little bit more time and attention to some of these things?
Yeah, I think as far as this angles, is it something that could have come up earlier? I think potentially it could have come out earlier. I don't know when. I don't know exactly when this was scheduled to take place, or if that was delayed.
Because I seem to remember reading in the notes that it said something along the lines that this would have been, there was a whole sort of bullet point list of if this had been done earlier, it would have been easier and quicker to do with the rest of the steel.
Okay.
It was in a memo, this one, yeah. Now the process of installing the angles with epoxy anchors takes much more time, which obviously means more money.
So the part of this, Ruth, is the M. O'Connor didn't bring this to the table to us. Way back when. I mean, they brought it to the table, and we've been working on it with them since they brought it to the table.
Yeah.
This is their steel person who was just pointing out, jeepers, when we were there originally doing the steel with the other, for the other parts of the building, would have been great to know about, and we could have saved some money. But M. O'Connor never even brought it up to us. So we've been working away. Once it was brought up by M. O'Connor to the building in our OAC meetings, Al's been working on it with them.
Yeah. No, I may be asking the wrong questions. I'm just trying to make sure that, is there should we be more on M. O'Connor to sort of say, yeah, because we're not on the site the whole time. We don't know these things. So and now it's costing us more money because they haven't brought it forward to us.
Yeah, good. It's a good point. Good question.
yeah, you're asking the right question, Ruth.
Okay, thank you. So,
Yeah.
so is there,
Unfortunately, the answer's not gonna change.
okay. All right, shall I just go like shadow Ed for the rest of the project
There you go.
and ask all these dumb questions?
You're not
Might-
done, believe me.
Yeah, Luke, he might start assigning you some tasks. So if you show up with a hard hat, he'll probably take you on.
I have my hard hat in the car the
Great.
whole
Ah.
time.
You can,
Well, you have to
Please,
give your
honestly,
OSHA
I am-
training
By
on
now,
that.
she's fully
Yeah.
trained.
Yeah, I'm being
Oh,
serious. I am being
perfect.
absolutely serious. If I can go down to the site more regularly and you need me to ask questions, then please put me to work.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Is the only thing, do we have any choices in this? I tend to think not.
Yeah, that's one of my point, David. I don't think we do.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
Okay.
um.
I know there's what I can say is during these OAC meetings, I know Al and Katie have been working diligently with the design, with the engineers and with Mark, trying to come up with the best economical solution as we can. And there's been a lot of back and forth on it.
Oh yeah, no, I can completely, yeah, I can see that. I mean, maybe it's one of these things that I know there's been so much change with M. O'Connor, and I know Ed's had an awful lot on his plate. I know he was really sort of, yeah, he had a hell of a lot on to try and,
Yeah,
but send me this.
oh, sorry, Ruth, I'm interrupting you. I was just gonna, just to piggyback onto what Al's comment is the 1910 building is an unreinforced masonry building. So it's 100 years old, you know, it's
Yeah.
built with brick, it's 3 and 4 wides. There's not steel, it's not tied back to the structure. So just as far as doing any project to this building really would require seismic upgrades. So we did have that captured. We had details, we have the clips, we have the anchors. We're still using the clips. As Al said, we are getting credit for some of the anchors, for some of the screws. But you know, this is just required for any time you've got an old building that is just built in this fashion. I think some of the comments on the last page, the steel, I read them a little bit more as validating their additional labor, because they do have, it is quite a bit more labor. It's multiple steps. So some of the comments about, you know, this is going to take longer. I think that was drafted as a way to say their contract scope that they assumed was, you know, X amount, and this is more than X. But, you know, basically what we're looking at is it's seismic upgrades, which are required for the building. And the kind of alternate details that Al and Dick spoke about were, you know, in general, they would be fine. But structurally for seismic connections, they were not approved connections. So we're using Hilti products, and they have, you know, very prescribed things. You need to use these pieces. That's what's been tested. So that's why we're going back to, you know, but that's what this value is. There's material, that's about half of it. Labor is the other half, because it is more steps. And so, you know, I think your question, Ruth, about if we know about this sooner, I mean, potentially as far as sequencing, maybe that would have assisted things, but the material cost, the labor is more labor than the contract scope. And ultimately, all of the brick was covered with drywall and plaster. So it wasn't until the demolition that we said, oh, the interior white really it's terracotta. And because of that, it's not a suitable substrate. It's like mashed potatoes. So when they try to drill into it, it just blows apart. So that's what all this really is just giving us a better substrate to, you know, to get into. So we have the connections. Like when you have to replace the boiler on your house, it's, you know, frustrating because you're putting money on something you're not seeing. And this is, you know,
I completely get the rest of it. It was just up on the sequencing, I
Yeah.
think. So
it's a very good point.
Okay. Any other discussion on this PCO?
yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. If not, then is there a motion to approve PCO, recommend for approval to the Board of Selectmen PCO number 30?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second,
I will poll the board. All those if you're in favor, David Billings,
Yes?
Luciana Berti,
Yes.
Ruth Townsend.
yes,
And I am a yes as well. Okay, thank you. And that concludes our agenda items. Thank you all very much for making the time for this special building committee meeting. There is a Board of Selectmen's meeting tonight, of which they'll be going over a whole bunch of these PCOs. This one, as well as the ones we discussed at our last meeting. So I think that starts, meeting starts, I think at 6:30, but I think we won't get on the agenda until what, Al, around 7?
Yeah, I just had the agenda open. Oh, here we go. 7:15.
7:15, so.
Yeah.
and Dick, are you and Al both going to be on that?
Yes, we will be.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. And Katie, are you
you.
going to be on that?
I have not been invited to that. Do you need me to
Mm.
attend?
Al? What do you think as far as Katie?
Yeah, Katie, I don't know that it's required, but if you want to join, you're welcome to. I think we talked about the last Board of Selectmen's meeting, and it's not something that you guys typically join, but
No, I don't think that we have been doing them in the past. I think there maybe have
Mhm.
been one early on that Janice had joined, but we haven't been doing it regularly. So I wasn't familiar with the schedule.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I
Are
don't think it's required, Katie, but if if you want to join, you're welcome to. I can send you an invite.
Dick, do you want to stop recording?
Excuse me. Actually, why don't we
Adjourn.
adjourn this meeting? Thank you,
Yeah.
Lucia. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion?
Motion. Okay.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor, David,
Aye. Okay.
Yes.
Luciana,
Yes.
Ruth,
yes.
and I am a yes as well. Thank you all very much for this meeting. I am going to stop the recording.